business? Like many of us, I'm sure you're feeling it. Business is hard. And now more than ever, you need to have a plan to help your business not just survive, but thrive. And it can happen as simply as thinking with the end in mind. I'm Marcia. I'm a business growth strategist. I've helped tons of small business owners to establish and implement a tangible plan that guarantees increased profitability, it guides your growth, and it plans for your future exit. I believe a business worth selling is also a business worth owning. And I'd love to share strategies that I've earned and learned with you on today's Profit with a Plan podcast. But before we get started, I have something to share with you. I've put together an insightful Think Outside the Box live web class on Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. It's been specifically designed to help you learn how to turn your business into one worth selling, even if you aren't thinking of selling it yet. Why now? Join me and find out all the benefits that come with having a sale-ready business. Register for free at exitwithaplan.com. So I'm super excited to have my guest with me today, Susan, and I forgot to ask you how to pronounce your last name. Is it Glucica?
Glusica.
Glusica. I knew I'd butcher it. Susan is here. She is an unrivaled realizer. She's known for humanizing the fastest path to inviting more money into your life because she believes that she has an unapologetic purpose. So prosperity. Oh my God. Let me just kick the eyes to the curb, get the mind working, and continue with Susan's introduction. She humanizes the fastest path for expanding prosperity, legacy, and generosity. And it's all about how to lead your money with your energy. She spent 20 years in the corporate cubicle side of financial services industry. She had a crisis of legacy and could no longer see the impact in her world and wanted proximity with clients. She wanted to make a bigger, bolder difference in her life and the lives of others. After 8 years of being on the client-facing side, she realized that no matter their income level, the biggest challenge that people face are being unaware of how to keep, give, and grow more so that they can be, do, and have more. She resides in northern Poconos of Pennsylvania with her husband and her cat. She enjoys hiking, golfing, fishing, and wineries. There's my girl. I knew the winery would come out because I am an official wino. So welcome to the podcast, Susan. We're so happy to have you on today.
Thank you, Marcia. It's so good to be here and with your audience today to share some value bombs.
Love it. Love it. Well, as we're coming in, we're just getting 2022 started. And, it's a magical year for a lot of us because of the numbers and the alignment. And the year, even the rock and roll radio station here in LA mentioned that 2022 is the year of manifestation. And so, I wanted to have you on because I thought this was a fantastic topic that people could really put into their business and turn that other side of getting a little bit of woo in their life, right? It's not woo-woo, as we had discussed previously, it's woo. And so talk to us a little bit about how energy works with money.
Right. Well, and let me just clarify for your audience so they don't go running for the hills.
Right.
I am one shoe in the practical and one shoe in the woo, right?
Yes.
And yes. So when we think about specifically around business, right? And I have two businesses. One is in the financial services arena. And in that business, a lot of my colleagues will choose to go after the business deep pockets first in terms of developing a plan for it and an exit plan. But like what we're going to talk about in the energy, if you think about it, without the business owner, the person, there is no business. So doesn't it make sense to do the business plan ahead of the personal plan ahead of the business plan, right? So similarly, a lot of us know about money mindset, right? So, but like we are the CEOs of our business, right? Well, so we're driving or leading the business, right? Mm-hmm. And traditionally, many coaching colleagues also go right for one of two things, either the business structure, Let's make sure you have your offers right. Let's make sure you know who you're speaking to. Let's make sure your content is aligned with them. Let's make sure you know their biggest challenges, yada, yada. And marketing, sales and marketing, well, I'll say marketing hasn't really changed a lot, right? Since, because it's all aligned to how the brain works.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then the second thing that coaches will focus on is money mindset. You've got to have a good money mindset. Well, I'm here to tell you, and this is one of those value bombs.
Okay.
Before we are a thought, we're energy. That's where I come in with having realized that there are, in fact, these 7 different levels of energetic levels of money consciousness, right? Meaning, so, and people don't understand energy, but I'm going to explain it, right? So what do I mean by energy? So and when we use energy, when we use spirit, when we use state of consciousness, we're talking about the same thing. I call it your financial frequency, same thing. And I call it financial frequency because so few people focus on the actual money, especially fempreneurs, women business owners, right? We're taught the opposite. We're taught it's all the numbers game. It's about visibility and who you're attracting and lead generation and the structure of your business and all important.
Which is all very masculine, correct? It's all a very masculine trait.
Correct. And I'm getting chills now, right? So truth with a capital T. It's very important, especially as women business leaders, business owners, entrepreneurs, fempreneurs, mompreneurs, multipreneurs, whatever preneur you are, right? If you're a woman and you're listening to this, know that you have the ability, you're already connected to it. You just don't see it yet. We're going to hopefully connect you to it in this podcast, but you're connected with utmost power. It's not masculine power though, it's feminine power. And we all have masculine and feminine. And I was just talking to my husband over the kitchen table yesterday over the weekend about this very thing, because I, like you, was taught the masculine way. So when I put my CEO hat and I don't make a switch up into the feminine power or energy, then I'm very, tracking, and it's all important, but like you go into, and it's more driven from the brain, right? That's the masculine, the drive, right? Gotta get success, gotta go after it, gotta follow up, fortune is in the follow-up, all of that stuff. All valid, all important. And if we step back and lead first with our feminine, with our inner, our intuition, right? Our empathy, our ability to see things. I mean, one of my secret sauces is seeing what others can't, won't, or don't, right? Especially around money. But coming at the money from more of a feminine direction, meaning, so now I'm gonna open up, I'm gonna expand my perspective into the peripheral, ground myself into the feminine energy, and from that very powerful place of being a vessel, I'm actually going to receive from on high, there's the woo, my next step. I don't have to have every single step. Well, I do have to know my final destination. How much money do I want to make this week, this month, this quarter, this year, 5 years from now, and ultimately to sell my business for, if that's my retirement plan.
Right? Love it. Love it.
Have to have a desired outcome.
So, so you went into a lot of technical stuff there. And so I know listeners, if listeners are energy driven and they understand the pieces of energy, they would have aligned with that. But what about those that are sitting on the edge going, what was that? Can you put that, that crossover between the male energy and the go do, but, which is male and female have male and female energies. So it's not man and woman, it's the
Right.
type of energies. But
Correct.
maybe if you can say, okay, we're going to ground ourselves and we're going to pull this in, how does one do that?
So let me explain how the 7 energetic levels of money consciousness
Please.
works, because that gives a nice framework for what we're talking about, and then I can go into the how.
Okay.
So there are 7 levels. If you can imagine kind of a tornado that starts at the ground level, and then as it goes up, it gets more and more expansive, and the energy at those higher levels, and I'm saying higher, there's no higher or lower. Let's just say slower versus faster, right?
Perfect.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right. So at the slower vibrational levels, which is where they start, 1 and 2, right? Which are, they're actually money taking levels. And let me clarify, there is only ever and will be abundance. Lack is a human construct. There's only abundance. And let me explain it. So in the first 2 levels, you still have an abundance, but just of unpreferred things. You have an abundance of bills, you have an abundance of time versus an abundance of money and an abundance of meetings, right? Like client meetings, right? Or yeses, right? You have an abundance of no's, and so it's all the unpreferred things. And so you're not in the, and what you're in, the energy of what you're in, which is shame, worry, anger, fear, regret, anxiety, very slow vibrations. So money loves speed. If you're in those slower vibrational levels of money, what are you going to attract? You're a match to the unpreferred. You're attracting, because we're all powerful attractors, and we're magnetic, right, to money and opportunity, and so on and so forth, and aligned with connecting, just like you and I were connected, right? Somebody said, oh, hey, Susan would be great on your podcast, right? You and I didn't know each other until we had that initial conversation. Same, I know why that happened, because I'm in faster energetic vibrational spaces, right? States of mind or states of consciousness. Let's call them states of consciousness, because consciousness actually isn't your mind. People think it is your mind, but you're not your mind. You're not your thoughts. You are bigger than your body. That's what I'm talking about. That's, again, the woo. Okay. So level 3, which is called courageous forgiveness. And anybody who wants to learn more in detail about these levels, it's in my book. It's Money Energy Mastery. You can find it on Amazon or on my website. Okay. Love it. So courageous forgiveness, though, it is courage. You step into courage, and courage allows you to step into, it's the pivotal point, into the remaining levels, which are all money receiving or money giving to you. So now you're switching into preferred states of abundance. So now the abundance, the prosperity, the surplus, the overflow starts to generate. It kind of is a little bit hit or miss in courageous forgiveness, because what we're working on there is really truly forgiving ourselves for the past mistakes that we made with our money, or anything having to do with the money.
I've never made any mistakes with my money. What are you talking about?
Oh, please. And I personally have been through all 7 of these levels, which is why I know them intimately. Yes, at one point in my life, I sold jewelry to pay to get food. Okay. Just barely walked away from being homeless. So I know, and I'm here to tell you that all you need to do is get yourself into a different state of consciousness, meaning, and here's what's required. You must accept the truth of the capital T, that you are not your circumstances. Okay. Once you can see that, then you can, and they say an attitude of gratitude, right, is so important. And it is, but nobody understands until we explain it to them why. Gratitude, now I'm skipping into the highest or the fastest vibrational level or energetic level of money consciousness, which is enlightened gratitude. Gratitude is the highest vibrational state we can physically embody, right?
Wow.
So that's the how. If I want to go through, elevate myself is how I phrase it, right? Into a different money level, right? Like level 5 is loving money. My little pro tip there is write a love letter to money.
Oh, okay.
Right? If I'm money and you want me in abundance in your life, you're going to have to like give me a good reason to come and to stay in your life. If you're vibing in shame, worry, regret, you know, even anger, I don't want to be any part of that, right? So I'm not showing up in plenitude for in your life. It's just the way it is energetically. So the good news is you get to choose your energy. That's the great news, right? And it's available for everyone. Even those like who have had money and credit report, you know, challenges and bankruptcies, judgments, liens, you know, like all of anybody in that, I'm here to tell you that you can turn it around. And all it takes is a daily decision, which is our power is our conscious choice in the moment of deciding, not intending. Intending does not have action behind it. Decision compels the action.
Love it.
So you can decide to forgive yourself for your previous money mistakes. You can decide to write a love letter to money, which everybody has a lot of fun with when I do it with them.
I just took a note to do that. So yes.
Yes. And you can choose every single day to be in the vibration of gratitude. Now, I learned many years ago how to be a good finder. A mentor of mine taught me this, and I love to share this. This is like a golden nugget if there ever was one. So because what we focus on expands, right? Then if we're focused on gratitude, our gratitude is going to expand. And because it's the fastest vibration we can be, it's going to attract higher and higher levels of money to our lives. Surplus and overflow, you're going to be able to focus on your mission, not even really focus on the money because the money's just going to come in. You just show up and express your mission every day in life in gratitude and service, and the money comes in. Well, how's that possible? Right?
Yeah, that just seems so easy. And listeners, if you think about it, when just using the I'm going to buy a new blue car, now all of a sudden you see blue cars everywhere. So it is that attention focus that when you are focusing on it, you see more and you attract more. So it is a real energy out there that brings it in. And if you can, I love the way that you can step from that worrisome level is what I'm taking away, where you're like, oh my gosh, I've got all these bills, I'm attracting
or anxious, right? Anxiety is a lot of women.
You get stuck in that, and then to be able to lift yourself up to that next level and think about the abundance and the money that's coming in and the surplus and the being thankful for it, then you can just easily make that decision and be there. It's not like you have to have work or skill set or talent to get there. You just have to be, right?
So, and let me help those who let me help those who are in those like starter, if you will, money levels, right? Of the unpreferred. Because here's the trick in the matter, okay? If there's only abundance, and by being grateful, we increase our vibrational frequency and become a match to higher and higher levels of money, then we also get to express gratitude for the unpreferred, for the credit issues, the bankruptcy, the judgment, the lien, the client leaving, the whatever. And we do it in this way. Here's another value bomb. If you want to establish a gratitude practice, now here's why I had a very different experience of COVID in the last 2 years than 99% of the people that I speak with and serve. Because I didn't have a gratitude practice. I actually have a gratitude ritual. I've had it for more than a decade, right? And so because I was taught, be a good finder, but only recently did I realize, ooh, I also get to express gratitude for the unpreferred, because when you think about it, what you're doing is, and it does pivot you out of judgment of self and others when you go into that gratitude, even for the unpreferred, right? So let me explain. So say a client leaves. I am so happy and grateful now that XYZ client, decided to, go to greener pastures or whatever, however you want to phrase it, because better is on its way. It immediately shifts your relationship to that occurrence, that circumstance, which is not you, right? It's just a circumstance in your life, happens to be unpreferred. And by expressing gratitude, it gets easier to do it closer and closer to the event. But eventually you'll get to where immediately something unpreferred happens and you immediately express gratitude. Man, it keeps your energy high. You're like invincible because nothing phases you, right? Circumstances no longer have a hold on you. And imagine, now I'm going to go into the practical, because I know you always like to tie it into the practical. So imagine you're coming to your business plan, right? Or making an important, business structure decision. Do I want a PLLC, an LLC, S Corp, C Corp, whatever? And you're listening to all this advice, right? And you're in your high vibe because you're in gratitude and you see things differently because you've expanded your perspective. And so this is like a macro decision, not a micro one, right? In business infrastructure or whatever decision you have to make as a CEO, or what's the plan for 2022 if you don't have it already, right? Then you're making it from the most optimal state of consciousness that we have available to us. Therefore, that's going to be the most optimal decision. It's going to be aligned to your and everyone else's highest and greatest good. And you're going to be able to start making decisions very rapidly and not lose sleep over them, not worry that you made the wrong call, right? Successful people make decisions quickly and change them rarely, if ever. That's from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich.
Wow. Love it. Yeah. Love it. Okay.
I know
you have just
about a lot of stuff.
You've given us just a waterfall of information here to think about things differently. And this is why I thought it was so important to have you on early in January of the new year to say, let's think about 2022 a little bit differently and how you're attracting the business that you want. Come on, everybody. I'm sure you've wanted to go out with somebody or wanted something, and soon as you start dating somebody, everybody wants to date you, right? It's that abundance kind of feeling with it. And I know it works the same way with money. And so many people are caught in that level 1 and 2 and just need a hand or an idea on how to shift themselves into the upper levels. Because we've all been there. When it feels good, you feel like everything's in line, things are working, they're all just falling into place. I think, or I know, it has to do with how you're feeling in that energetic world. And we may not see it and recognize it, but it does happen, right? And I think we just want to be there more often. And so that way we can attract and be the best that we want.
The reason it feels so good, it's a great point, is because it is our natural state. Abundant prosperity is and every listener, everyone out there, your birthright. It is actually programmed into your DNA.
Wow.
Now, why aren't we just all out there expressing our highest level selves in greatest service to humanity and getting boatloads of money for that value exchange, right? Well, there's a little thing called the ego brain that is just a part of us. It's a wonderful protective part of us. And again, just like the unpreferred things, you express gratitude for it because it actually is serving you to live and survive to breathe another day, right? It's wonderful.
Protection.
Otherwise, we'd be eating poisonous mushrooms and not making it to the next day, right? Or jumping off buildings and testing the law of gravity or so forth, right? So we honor that. And there are several tools that you can use. I call it a prosperity toolbox, right? So here's a prosperity tool you can use. When you hear the ego brain start kicking in or piping in or loudly screaming at you, whichever is the case, depends on its size and how long it's been driving the bus. Mine happens to be very small because I've worked on it, right? But still in certain circumstances, she will pipe up, right? But that ego brain, when you hear that ego brain, however you hear that ego brain, and it's our like, Pygmalion brain or,
monkey brain or reptile brain. Yeah.
I'm not talking about the ego. I'm talking about your ego brain, right? Your mind, your ego mind. So when you hear that, notice that there's a lot of judgment coming from that voice. Well, it's gonna trigger, if you will, judgment in you, and the pivotal tool to use so that you don't go into judgment, because that's not good. Nobody's going to win that argument, right? It's just going to be judgy, and no
you coulda, shoulda, woulda. If I had done that, and why are you so dumb? And how come you did that again?
It happens to all of us. Yes, that. So you can pivot into curiosity. My favorite all-time question to ask that ego brain or ego mind is, great, you acknowledge what it's saying, right? You always want to acknowledge it, or else it's just going to shout louder. So I hear you. Is there evidence to the contrary? Like, no, you can't do that business plan, or who do you think you are to charge that? Or nobody's going to pay that, or your ideal client is not in your sphere, and I could go on, right? So I hear you. Is there evidence to the contrary? Now, the fascinating thing about this, and I know we're getting to the end of our conversation shortly, but this is a huge nugget, right? And I hope everybody uses this tool going forward. It's a game changer. So when you use when you use curiosity and use that question, here's the fascinating thing. You with the capital Y, as I call your bigger you, right? Versus the you with the small y, which is really your ego brain. We'll sit back and listen to that ego brain all of a sudden reverse course and start giving you evidence to the contrary. Try it. It's amazing and fascinating and fun. You just have to remember to do it.
Right? This is fantastic. I don't know how many times that I have stopped myself from doing something because I was afraid of what I thought would be the results. Someone would go, "What are you talking about?" Or, "No, I don't want that. Quit bugging me." And sales calls, picking up the phone, making that first call because you're afraid someone's going to say no on the other side. But
we all fear rejection. That's also built into our DNA.
But if we use that same curiosity and go, well, what happens if they say yes? It is the potential. And I think that's the shift we have to do. And it does. And in that same instance, it puts you into the higher level, right?
Exactly. That's the important piece, right? So now you're no longer being led by the nose by your ego brain. The you with the small y is no longer driving the bus. The you with the capital Y is handily driving the bus, getting you where you want to be, because we all have a destination in mind, whether we admit it to ourselves or not. And for the money piece, because this is very important, I'm just going to close on this piece, because here's how it works and why making it about the money is required, because a lot of people resist making it about the money. So if you think about it, money is the effect, and service to others, to humanity, to elevate whatever, is the cause. Everybody focuses on service, but you don't know what level of service is required for the money that you desire until you get clear on what effect, what desired outcome in the money you desire, that you want, that you need even, right? And permission to want, dream, is granted. And then you reverse engineer to what is going to cause that money, right? But the one doesn't happen without the other, and everybody's chasing the service model without understanding and claiming what do they want on the money side. My money results changed the year that I actually claimed and made a decision of what I specifically wanted and took action, even if people were saying, that's ridiculous. You can't go from here to there. You've got to step it in. I'm like, no, it's quantum leaping, people.
That makes total sense, because people always say, well, if I do X, Y, and Z, the money will come, right? And that's not true. If you put the intention out there that I want X for this year, let's just throw a round number out there. I want to grow my business by 100,000, whatever. So in order to do that, you have to see that number there. And then what are the reverse engineered steps that I need to take to achieve that $100,000 increase this year? So it is tangible, folks. It's not woo-woo stuff. This is the ideas that Susan is sharing here with us today are around the energy and the mindset that we use, but they actually relate to the tangible. And by putting the two together is, I think, the shift that you're talking about, that we all are going, well, if I just keep hitting the hammer harder on that nail, it's going to go through. Right. It won't. You have to do other things. You can't wish for something, you have to take action. And this is the two pieces I see. It's the wishing, dreaming, idea part, and then the action that gets you to that.
Well, it's one step more than just the intention and the idea and the dreaming. That is a pre-step, but the true rubber hits the road step that compels the action that is necessary is your decision. And part of that needs to be non-negotiable. I asked somebody on a call the other day, and I said, well, what level of money is non-negotiable? Because she was kind of a little all over the place. And she goes, well, I never made my money non-negotiable. And I said, that's why you don't have what you want, because you haven't made it non-negotiable. And what do I mean by that? Like, you will do whatever is necessary and you won't stop. I'll talk a little bit about action in a half a second, but you will not stop until you have that money in the bank. That's non-negotiable. That's a decision. And then the how, right? Well, that's a whole other story, because I have a way of walking people through how do you determine the ways to the money, of which there are unlimited, by the way. So out of unlimited ways, how do you come up with, say, your top 3? And then for those ways, how do you align with the daily aligned actions that are required? But people will resist the actions because they haven't made the money non-negotiable.
Ooh, that's powerful. That's powerful. I love it. Susan, this has been a mind-blowing conversation. It really has. Because
and I could keep going.
I can tell. I mean, there's so much more to these concepts and to your frameworks and your models that you teach your clients to go through. Where can listeners find out more about you?
Oh, everything's on my website, susanglusica.com. And just have a ball. I have a weekly prosperity booster you can enter with your text, and get a text. I have a free guide and more. There's a masterclass. There's a one-day training I do. So just come in and have some fun and see what's a fit, or expansion call. Do an expansion call with me. Get crystal clear on what's possible for your money in 20 minutes. Seriously.
Love it. There is an abundance side with you and your website. And then there is the other side, which is stay exactly where you are today.
Right.
And expect greater things or ask for greater things and still be stuck in the same old spot next year.
And it's your choice. And I honor your choice. That's totally, here's the thing. If your results are what you want, everything's perfect. You don't have to change a thing. It's great.
There's very few of those people out there that are totally satisfied with the direction that they're on, right? for the rest of us out there that are striving for bigger, better, faster, stronger, more, so you could do more and be more, then I think this is a fantastic place to start. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. All right, listeners, I hope you found a few ideas to put into your business that will help you be more profitable. And I know it starts with that money mindset. It really, truly does. And don't forget, now more than ever, you need to have your business in a position like you want to sell it. Don't forget to register for my new web class on how to turn your business into one worth selling, even if you aren't thinking of selling it. There are tons and tons and tons of benefits to having a sale-worthy business, and then you could sell it when it's time. So that'll be on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Go register for free at exitwithaplan.com. You do not want to miss this class. As always, Susan and I would love to hear your feedback. Any challenges you had, maybe a shift you got out of this call that you went, oh my gosh, I can do that. Comment on today's podcast, share your thoughts with us. We'd love to hear them and we will respond. And then don't forget to subscribe. You can always catch Profit with a Plan on any of your favorite podcast players. We're looking forward to more great profitable information on next week's show. So until then, make your plans and profit with them. Thanks, Susan.